Hi artists, it's Miss Lee. Today we're going to be talking about landscapes. A landscape is a picture of a place. All landscapes have three parts. The first part is the foreground. A foreground is the part of the picture that is closest to the viewer. These rocks in this picture is in the foreground. Foreground also has lots of details. Landscapes also have a middle ground. The middle ground is in the middle of the paper, and in this picture, it's the mountains and the hills. Landscapes also need a background. The background is the part of the picture that is farthest away. The clouds in the sky is farthest away and it's at the top of the paper. Now you'll draw a landscape. Make sure you write your name and your class code. Start with the foreground. It should be at the bottom of the paper. I'm drawing a tree in my foreground. And I'm adding a little hill. Next, I'll add a middle ground. And finally, a background, which is the sun in this picture. Now add some interesting details to make it look creative. Now that you have a picture with your middle ground, foreground, and background, you'll take a styrofoam plate and you'll put it underneath your drawing. You're going to want to hold your drawing still as you trace it over the styrofoam plate. If it's difficult for you to hold it still, I would tape it down. Now taking your pencil, you're going to be tracing over your picture. Press down on your pencil with some pressure so that you make an imprint onto the styrofoam plate on the other side. But you don't want to press down so hard that you're going to tear your paper. You should be able to see some of those lines that you traced from your landscape onto the styrofoam plate. Run your finger over and you should even be able to feel some of those lines. But we want to make sure that those lines show up in our print. So taking your pencil, trace over your lines one more time, pressing down so that you should be able to feel the texture of those lines engraved onto the styrofoam plate. Now using our markers, you're going to be coloring your styrofoam printing plate. Now that your styrofoam plate is colored in, you're going to take a large sheet of paper and fold it into 4 parts. Using a sponge, you'll sponge one of those quarters, not so wet that it's dripping, but just enough so that there's a nice gloss over the paper. Take your styrofoam plate and lay it down. Try to make sure that it's centered and just give it a good back rub. Now lift your plate and you should have a print of your landscape. The next thing you should do is wipe off your printing plate and color it again with different colors and make another print in each of the quarters of your piece of paper.